Does this happen to anyone else? You're walking around and suddenly you realize that there are piles of stuff everywhere. Clutter and chaos have taken over everything in sight. Over the last week, I've been noticing these piles and how they were affecting my mood and my ability to focus. Piles of dirty laundry, bags of cans for recycling, papers to be shredded, items to be donated, and just plain clutter seem to have taken over.
I finally reached the end of my rope and had to do something about the piles just to save my sanity.
So I thought I'd bring you along as I decluttered and cleaned up the mess.
The video you're about to watch is not the one that I intended to make. I was focused on how satisfying it is to watch people decluttering, instead of allowing space for God to teach me the hidden secrets of the universe. All along the way as I was filming, He kept pumping the brakes, telling me to stop, look, listen, and see what He had to teach me. Now, I'm sure that you're already aware of the brutal truth that I'm about to drop on you. There is no magic cure. There are no 3 easy steps. There are no 5 quick hacks to save you from yourself. However, there is hope. There is a way out. And today I'm going to share with you the hidden truth that God has revealed to me. Usually when we think of clutter, we think of a person who's a hoarder. We've all seen those videos of someone who has boxes and bags and newspapers piled to the ceiling with no space to even walk through the house. According to the Mayo Clinic's website, hoarding disorder is a persistent difficulty discarding or parting with possessions because of a perceived need to save them. While I do have a tendency to occasionally think, I should save this in case I need to use it sometime, that's not really the problem I'm having. Right now, my biggest problem is the pile of things that I'm saving because I'm supposed to do something with them. Like this pile of bags that I'm supposed to take to be donated. I just wanted to show you that the Salvation Army bags are in the back, and I'm off to drop them off. Yay me.
The most embarrassing thing is that I drive past the Salvation Army at least every other week or so, and yet my 2 greatest enemies kept me from getting this job done for at least 3 months. More about those enemies in a bit.
My personal experience tells me that having chaos and clutter in my environment causes me to be easily distracted and greatly impacts my emotional outlook on life. It increases my stress, my anxiety, and even causes me to lose my creativity. Since I know that I've got to clean everything up before I can start on something fun.
Not to mention that I really should get those other chores done first too. I usually end up feeling so overwhelmed and guilty while looking at the mess that I just go into denial, walk away, and pretend the piles aren't even there.
Well, now that this mess is all cleaned up, I'll be able to work on my new project as soon as I get some free time.
I wondered if I was the only one who experienced this relationship between the clutter surrounding me and my increased depression, anxiety, and stress. So I Googled it and found article after article about this exact same phenomenon. One of those articles said, clutter can affect our anxiety levels, sleep, and ability to focus. It can also make us less productive, triggering coping and avoidance strategies that make us more likely to snack on junk and watch TV shows, including ones about other people decluttering their lives. The thing that struck me the most in this article is the idea that the clutter surrounding me was making me more likely to camp on my couch and watch videos of other people decluttering and being productive, which resulted in more clutter piling up and more video watching and more clutter and more videos. If you watched my other videos, then you know this vicious cycle has been dragging me down for a while.
I know what you're thinking. Get on with it. Tell me the secrets of the universe already. Well, here's the thing. I discovered the secrets by accident. My greatest weakness is repetitive tasks that just have to be done all over again, like laundry.
It's not that doing laundry is so terrible. It's just that I don't enjoy doing it. My lack of desire to do laundry is mostly caused by the fact that I am often attacked by my 2 greatest enemies, procrastination and laziness. The worst thing about laundry is that there are so many opportunities to fail on following through. Think about it. throwing dirty laundry on the floor instead of putting it in the hamper, sorting the laundry into loads, actually starting a load in the washer, moving the laundry into the dryer before it starts to smell.
Don't look at me like that. We've all done it.
Removing the laundry from the dryer before it wrinkles, folding the laundry after it's in the basket, putting away the folded laundry instead of just letting it sit in the basket. Basically, for me, doing laundry is just a bunch of opportunities for me to leave a pile of clothes sitting somewhere, which then adds to my stress and guilt, my depression increases, and my anxiety sometimes overwhelms me. All because I let my two greatest enemies sucker me into letting the laundry sit there in a pile. Now, I'm not saying that laundry is the root of all evil, but I am going to use it as an example a little bit later of how I'm going to conquer the piles of chaos and clutter around me and dig my way out of the mess I'm in.
Okay, guys. Everywhere I look, there's another pile of something that I'm not hoarding. I'm just waiting so that it can be handled appropriately, right? Really? That's what I'm doing, right? So this time I found this pile. Do you see this? These are all the papers that have been waiting for a year to be shredded.
Quite by accident, as I was filming my time lapses, I suddenly had an epiphany. I had forgotten the most important thing. I had forgotten to make space for God to speak to me while I was dealing with the piles.
I am done. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Unfortunately, as you've seen today, laundry isn't the only thing that piles up. Even good things like clothing to be donated or papers to be shredded can pile up waiting to be handled.
I promise I'm not a hoarder. Really. I know it looks like it, but I'm really not.
Cans pile up waiting to be recycled, worries or negative thoughts pile up in our minds, and sin, guilt, or shame can pile up in our hearts.
Okay, mission has been accomplished. All the cans returned. I am embarrassed to say that my grand total was $66.90. That is ridiculous.
Anytime we take our focus off where it should be, we get distracted and we start to let things slide. We let ourselves slip into the habit of ignoring the piles around us, or unconsciously letting the negative thoughts go round and round in our heads, or repeating the same harmful behaviors that caused us to feel hurt and guilt.
So how do we break out of the rut and take control of our tendency to procrastinate? How do we learn how to dwell deliberately and delight deeply in the day that we've been given? Based on the research I've done, there are a gazillion posts out there about 3 easy hacks to decluttering, 5 easy steps to take control of the chaos in your life. But the brutal truth is, there's no easy way out. Life is a battlefield, and procrastination and laziness are out to get you and drag you down. But wait, don't go. There's hope in the secret of the universe that I'm about to reveal to you. Are you ready? Here it comes. Make space. I know what you're thinking. I watched this whole video just for that. Hold on. Let me explain what I mean. No matter what piles we're dealing with in our life, be it laundry or negative thought patterns or sin built up in our hearts, we have to first make space for change. We have to open ourselves up to the possibility that there is a better way, that there is hope, that we don't have to live this way. Mentally, we have to stop, look at the piles in a new way, and listen to the still small voice inside our hearts that's trying to encourage us. It can be very, very difficult to hear that voice when we're surrounded by so much noise. So we also have to make space in our minds to think about where our priorities lie.
Maybe it's not so important that we watch that next episode of our favorite show. Or maybe it's not so crucial that we work that extra shift. Or maybe it's time for us to just sit and reflect on where we are right now and where we want to be.
Making space for our true priorities will help us begin to change. But knowing our priorities is just the beginning. We all know what we should be doing, we just don't always do it. So how do we begin to move from thought into action.
By making space in our day. Sometimes we're so caught up in running on the hamster wheel of life that we don't allow enough time to focus on accomplishing what really matters. We bury ourselves in running here and there, putting out fires. Or maybe you're more like where I was, buried on the couch, barely able to drag myself out of bed, and sinking under the fog of depression. We've got to make space by dedicating time to our priorities. Maybe this means setting an alarm on your phone to remind you to get up and just go do it. Or maybe it means putting yourself on a schedule and dedicating a specific time or day to whatever you're focusing on changing.
Once we have a specific time dedicated to our target of attack, we have to make space in our plans. Nobody ever wins an Olympic gold medal or the Nobel Peace Prize without first having a plan in place. And nobody ever builds a skyscraper without first checking to make sure that they have accurate blueprints to follow. So you and I, we are not going to win this battle against chaos, clutter, procrastination, laziness, whatever it is, without having a plan of attack. What do I mean by this? Let's look at my nemesis, the root of all evil, laundry.
If I want to conquer the piles of laundry, then I've got to have a plan of attack. I've got to know where my failure points are and develop a plan for how to deal with them. So here's my plan. You've already seen my plan for how to make time for getting laundry done. I'm putting myself on a specific schedule. I've written it in my planner and set my reminder alarms on my phone.
I'm going to use the audio signals on the washer and dryer to prompt me to go do the next step. My family likes to turn them all the way off, but I need this audio signal to remind me to get up and do it.
Next, I've got to develop the habit of folding the laundry right away. I know some people fold while pulling the clothes out of the dryer, but I really don't have the space for that strategy, so I'm going to have to try something else. For now, I'm going to watch videos of other people being productive while I fold my laundry. If my hands aren't busy with laundry, no screen time.
The last part of my plan of attack is my greatest failure point. I have a tendency to fold the clothes, put them in the basket, and then set the basket down somewhere thinking that I'll get to it later. Needless to say, a week later, I come back, it's still there. And I just have to put it all away and start the whole process all over again. So how am I gonna fix this one? I've got nothing. If you've got an idea, write it in the comments and let me know what works for you. I've got to find a solution. I've come up with this great battle plan, and I'm counting on you guys to hold me accountable and check in with me and see how it's going. Now I know what you're thinking. That's all well and good, Crystal, but what if you don't stick to the plan? What if you don't follow through? Well, this is where God really blew my mind. This video is not the one that I started out to make. I was focused on my failures, on how much I let things slide and how often I'd failed. I was caught in a spiral of seeing the piles as evidence of how terrible I was as a homemaker, how horrible of an example I was to my children, and even how awful of a human being I was. In trying to capture the decluttering process on film, I began to see the piles in a whole new light.
The pile of cans waiting to be recycled was an opportunity for God to give me hope and show me what He wanted to accomplish with this video.
Super amazing moment reminded me that humankind is not completely lost. The gentleman who works there was so very sweet and helpful to me, and apparently I dropped one of my receipts and he waited for me to come back in on my last trip, and then he handed it to me so that I could have my extra back for all my hard work. So I'm gonna find a way to pay that forward to somebody else, because that was really, really, really nice.
You see, He used that pile of cans to totally change my outlook. He caused me to see that I needed to make space to allow Him to work and move in my life and stop being so obsessed with my perceived failures.
The pile of bags waiting to go to the Salvation Army ended up sitting there so long that seeing them kept reminding me to add more clothes to them.
We ended up donating a lot more than I'd originally intended. That pile that I saw as evidence of my guilt and shame, God saw as an opportunity to increase how I was blessing others.
The pile of papers to be shredded was in reality a reminder that when I repent, God takes my sins like procrastination and laziness and shreds them by His grace into pieces so small that they can't even be seen.
And that pile of laundry, that endless, overwhelming, never-ending pile of laundry, was an incredible opportunity for God to show me the endless, never-ending, overwhelming love that He has for me. So the next time I see that pile of laundry just staring at me, I'm going to remember that God loves me no matter what. And I'm going to be kind to myself, because that's the last secret of the universe. Make space to be kind to yourself. If we want to have success in winning our battles with the chaos and clutter of this life, we have to remember that we're going to fail, and it's not the end of the world. We have to understand that it doesn't change our value as a human being, and it certainly doesn't change how much God loves us. So write yourself a note, or perhaps a focus verse, or maybe a motivational statement that will remind you to make space. Wait a minute, did you think I forgot? I took those bottle slips back to the grocery store and I looked for some people who looked like they needed to be blessed with some extra money for their groceries this time. It was such a blessing to my heart to allow God to use me in this way, and it really gave me a new perspective on those piles that have been piling up around here. I encourage you to make space for God to use you in new and exciting ways. Give Him an opportunity to show you who you can bless today. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see some more in one of these videos, in one of these videos, you can see how, one of these videos. I don't know. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see some, if you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see some more in one of these videos, you can see how I started my journey and how I made a huge change in my life. See you next time.